Thank you, Ms. Kelly, CEO, Ali Healthcare, Dr. to you, and also to Mr. Gavi, Vice President, Ali Healthcare, Dr. to you, for giving me the opportunity to share my experience on COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia and how to stop the transmission to adapt the new norm, and a briefing to staff of BP Healthcare and also to our customer. And this is the flow of my presentations. We'll see about, briefly look at novel coronavirus previously, now they call it COVID-19. What is our story? How did we do the new norm to stop the transmission and the conclusion? And I think all of you remember 2 years ago, i.e. 31st December 2019, world was informed about the COVID-19 in Wuhan city. And 24 days later, i.e. on 24 days later, on 24th of January last year, Malaysia detected a first case, imported cases. And after that, 14th February, i.e. not even 2 weeks later, first local cases was detected in Malaysia. Yeah, and if you all can recall 23rd February, what happened? The government at that time, Pakatan Harapan, lost the majority. And the new government was only formed on the 10th of March. And what I would like to illustrate was, at that time, between 25th February until 9th of March, Malaysia was without cabinet. We were lucky during the Pakatan Harapan government, decision was made that 4% can make press statement on COVID-19, namely Prime Minister of Malaysia, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Health, or DG of Health. Or at that time, 3% were not around, left with DG of Health. So DG of Health, with the help of other government agencies, were basically managing this COVID-19 within this period. So it was very painful to us in Ministry of Health. And this is our story. I recall 24th of February, the first case. This is imported cases. And after that, 11 days without any new cases. And 27th February started our second wave. Second wave was started during the gathering. If you all can remember, 27th February until 1st of March. This was the gathering at Sri Petali Mosque. And at that time, 16,000 people gathered together. 4,005 were Malaysian, 1,005 were non-Malaysians. And we were late. Why? Because 11 March, Brunei detected the first case that came from Malaysia. And we were informed on 11 March, but the gathering ends on the 1st of March. So we were late by 10 days. Can imagine 16,000 people. And again, if I can mention again, between this period, 27th February and 25th February was the period that we don't have any cabinet. So it was very, very painful to Ministry of Health at that time, managing COVID. And on the 10th of March, new government was sworn in. And 8 days later, meaning after new government was formed, 8 days later, MCO 1.0 was executed. And following that, from 1.0 MCO, and we moved towards conditional MCO, and finally recovery MCO. And at that time, during recovery MCO on the 10th of June, cases was very, very low, and July almost single digit and nil. But if you can recall what happened on the 26th of September last year, during the election in Sabah, that was the beginning of the third wave. It was the beginning of the third wave on the 20th of September 2020. And after that, after the election, if you can recall, it was so many clusters in Semenanjung, Bah Arnab, Bah Manggis, Bah Bengkalan, and so on. All these are basically Sabah and cluster from Sabah. And cluster Jambul, because Potong Jambul, cluster Inai, Berinai, cluster tempat kerja associated with penginapan, and cluster Saguking, cluster penjara, and cluster Tembok, and so on. And this year, 2021, cases went up again. Continuation of the third wave, and government decided to impose MCO 2.0, and now we are at 2.0 MCO, and even a few days ago, yesterday we had the yesterday we had the announcement that MCO will be implemented nationwide. Yeah. And what are the signs and symptoms? Fever, batuk, sesama, sesak nafas, diarrhea, cerit. But remember, sometimes lethargy may be one of the symptoms. You can recall one of the top civil servant was found positive, and the whole cabinet minister who had meeting with him have to be quarantined during that time. And he had no symptom other than lethargy, weak. Yeah, but this is very unusual symptom, very mild. And another specialist, just lost their anosmia, cannot smell. When she wanted to go to wash her hair using shampoo, suddenly she noted that she can't smell the shampoo. So she was worried, and she went for the COVID-19 testing. It turned out to be positive. So these are very mild symptoms, but sometimes mild symptom it can become gejala teruk, kerosakan tisu, organ and blood clot, embolism, and necrosis, cell mati, cell become hard, become hardened, fibrosis, and so on. It can cause peradangan paru-paru. It attacks your lung, and it causes inflammation to the lung. Peradangan paru-paru, inflammation to the lung, and then pneumonia. Yeah, pneumonia, and this make people have difficulty in breathing, and it can attack blood vessel in the kidney, and it cause internal organ failure. It can cause heart failure, renal failure, intestine, and so on. So these are the major symptoms. Yeah, and look at this: 80% of the patient are either mild, maknanya tak ada gejala langsung, ataupun gejala ringan. Mild or 82%, either no gejala, tak ada gejala, ataupun gejala ringan. 15% adalah bergejala teruk, dan 33% adalah yang kritikal, seperti di kritikal yang memerlukan ventilator. Dan anda semua yang sehat-sehat semua di sini, ya, yang muda-muda mungkin tidak ada gejala. Oleh demikian, lindungi datuk, nenek dan warga tua, kumpulan rentan. Dan sebab anda tidak bergejala, jadi bila tak tahu pun yang ada COVID, jadi bila tidak menjaga SOP, anda boleh menjangkiti, ya, orang warga tua, kumpulan rentan dan sebagainya. Ya. Dan lihat ini, third wave bermula daripada 20 September tahun lalu. Dan kalau kita ingat kembali, second wave was started in 27 February last year, and contributed mainly by cluster Seri Petaling, and also cluster from the Immigration Detention Center. And third wave, following the election in Sabah, we have a lot of cluster tempat kerja, and from foreign workers, and it is associated with accommodation. This is what we call PADI, peratang dengan izin. Cluster penjara, penjara Kepayan, penjara Keluang, and so on. And after that, PATI, pendatang tanpa izin. This is from Immigration Detention Center, and also from the community. That was 20th of September onward. Yeah, and you can see the graph here. This is the first wave, and the second wave, and the third wave. And remember, if you don't follow SOP, if people do not follow SOP, we will get what we can recall cluster Siva Ganga. Cluster Siva Ganga in Kedah. A person came back from Siva Ganga, India, did not follow SOP. He's supposed to be quarantined himself in the room, but he did not. So he went on and mingled with his staff, and after that, this is basically restaurant. Is in fact quite big. Cluster at that time, and followed by cluster Tawar. Yeah, cluster Tawar at funeral because they don't follow SOP. And this is the third wave. The beginning of third wave on the 20th of September, cases went up, and it was the highest on the 31st of February, 5,729. And after that, on the 5th of April, cases went down to 1,000. People were very happy. But starting from 15th of April until now cases going up, and it's around between 3 to 4 and 5,000. It is less than 5,000, but it is constantly higher than 2,000, between 2,000 to 4,000 plus. Yeah. And what happened when we have this COVID? I think it's a dichotomy to balance between the economy, to balance between the income, and to balance between the income, the economy, and the public health. I.e., to balance with the life and the livelihood, between the public health and the economy, between the income and the public health. So this is very painful, and that's why you can see after MCO 1.0, we have MCO 2.0, and MCO 2.0, and when it was implemented, it is more flexibility was given in comparison with MCO 1.0. This is an example, illustration, our Malaysian approach in managing COVID-19. We have surveillance and public health intervention, and we have done diagnostic and testing, evidence-based approach, risk communication, strategic communication. We treat and isolate patients, and movement control order. I think you know that. Yeah. And what are our secrets in hospital management? There are 4 secrets when we manage patients in our hospital, because solid governance, leadership in crisis, we use evidence as well as value-based medicine, and we use strategic planning. This is the leadership in crisis, the King, Prime Minister, Minister of Health, DG of Health, and this was KSU of Health, the former KSU. And when we were informed last time, 2 years ago, on the 31st December 2019, immediately, the beginning of January 2020, we already did the preparation. We developed screening hospital 56, treating hospital 26, ICU and bed and lab, 6 labs were available with capacity 832 tests. But now, at the end of December 2020, last year, we have 62 labs, capacity more than 60,000. But now the capacity of lab is more than 104,000 tests, and it was almost 79 labs available. In terms of hospital, more hospital screening has been developed, more treating hospital, more hospital bed, and a low-risk treating and quarantine center was developed with more bed. Yeah, so the preparation was done in 2021. This year, more facilities have been developed. So working together is vital in managing COVID. We work together with Armed Forces, National Security Council, with Fire Rescue Department, National Disaster Agency, and the Royal Malaysia Police, University, private sector, NGO. NGO help us, and then a donation come from industries and so on. University help us for the investigation, for the sending specialists and treating patients. Private sector loan us ventilators, and then outsourcing lab from private sector. And now we outsource also non-COVID patients for treatment in private hospital, and treatment of COVID also been managed by private hospital, and human resource mobilization, private hospital, private sector, private clinic also help us in managing COVID. So this is the secret. And hospital management, the strategic planning, we are doing impossible. Together we achieve more, being the influencer, competing for the less, fostering trust and admin chaos, service of ourselves. And I mentioned to you earlier, the new government was formed on the 10th of March. 8 days later, all the agencies managed to influence the new government to impose MCO on. After 8 days, the new government was formed. So doing the impossible, we never implement MCO before. Was this Act 342 was gazetted on 1988, never be implemented, but we did that last year. Yeah, we doing the impossible. We managed also to flatten the Sri Petaling cluster, and we managed to flatten the curve on the 8th of July. And this has enabled to reduce the stress on hospital. And again, we have developed Pusat Quarantine and Rawatan COVID Berisiko Rendah in my app. You can see here, Wuhan took 10 days to develop the hospital. We only spent 3 days. Yeah, spent 3 days to develop the hospital. This is My Hospital 1.0, and now we move toward My Hospital 2.0. And together we achieve more. You can see here, we work together. The king came with his wife, Permaisuri, and also Prime Minister and other ministries also help us, St. John Ambulance, the public, NGOs, and so on. And competing for less, this is another thing. You can read here from news, coronavirus, global need for PPE like Wild West. Coronavirus buying PPE online for care sector like Wild West. So this is what happened. Yeah. So at that time, May last year, to get masks is very difficult. So we are looking for masks, and then at that time, masks were very expensive. So we cannot make masks mandatory. We cannot make masks mandatory to everybody. And fostering trust amid chaos. Yeah, so we have regular meeting. We have to inform the public. We have high cure rate, and we have low mortality rate. And we have to inform the rakyat. And we have adequate staff. We have adequate ICU. This is very important. Fostering trust and amid chaos. And service above cell. You can see here. Yeah, you can see here. Our staff here, somebody giving water, yeah, and this staff tiring, resting here, and Tan Sri DT and me, this is basically during Hari Raya, and for us, we work 365 days a year. We don't have any Hari Raya. Every day is a working day, yeah. So sacrifice of hospital staff and public health staff, strategic planning, anchor is storm, and then strategic communication is very important, and the governance, the medical resources, the data are also very important. Hospital operation, workforce, these are all the strategic planning pertaining to medical program. And the similar approach also been implemented by the public health program. Yeah, and data is very vital. Okay, you can see here, this is dashboard for COVID-19 hospital. Every day we monitor all over Malaysia hospital bed. We monitor all over Malaysia hospital bed, and we monitor whether the bed capacity is bed capacity is enough or not. And we also monitor the PPE. Every hospital, we monitor the PPE. Is it adequate or not? We cannot allow any hospital run out of PPE. Yeah, and then we monitor Sabah Sarawak. We monitor in Sabah Sarawak PPE. So in short, monitoring hospital, monitoring the testing, monitoring the surveillance is very important using data. Data is very powerful in making decision. Yeah, and we also monitor the intensity, the seriousness of COVID in our country, not only in Malaysia as a whole, but according to the state. Not only in the state, but according to the district. Not only according to the district, even up to the sub-district. And we have presented it during APEC meeting. We presented it during APEC meeting, and people was surprised. Because you see, we managed to even detect and do the contact tracing up to the micro level. And this is the ability of Malaysia. And this is an example of perincian cluster Benteng LD. You can see the contact tracing from first generation, second generation, third generation. So these are the contacts that will be conducted by Ministry of Health to ensure we can cut the transmission of the diseases. Yeah, and about hospital, we don't have enough hospital in Tawau. And we built field hospital in Tawau within few days with 100 bed capacity, and we have operation theater inside to help Tawau Hospital. And hospital operation, emergency procurement, here is the ventilators. Buying ventilator is not like those days. At that time, buy ventilators is like we book a hotel via Agoda and Trivago. It is buying online. Consignment has not arrived, we had to pay first. But thanks, government approved the emergency procurement process. Buying ventilators is like booking via Agoda and Trivago. Because you know why? If we are late, other countries will quickly buy that ventilator. So we cannot be late. But here you can see, we have bought the ventilators, but we cannot bring it back. Why? There was no airline. So we had to send special aircraft, special consignment to bring back airline to bring back ventilator to Malaysia. So strategic communication is very vital. The King, the Queen came, these are our former KSU, and then there's here meeting with Prime Minister, with Prime Minister, and communication, you can see the attire here. My attire, basically it was during Hari Raya. So we work every day, we state the health director, we have meeting regularly, and then daily press conference at that time, and a daily press conference by Minister of Finance. And then don't forget, backliners are equally important. Not only frontliners, backliners. At that time, during the first wave and second wave, the first meeting started at 7:30 with our Minister of Health, meaning 7:30 meeting. Before that, before 7:30, by 7 or 6:30, data must be ready, because the data must be used during the 7:30 meeting. And then by 8 or 8:30, there will be another meeting, our National CPRC, before the subsequent meeting will be with National Security Council. So without data, we cannot make decision, because without data, we do not know where the enemies are hiding, what type of enemies, what sort of vaccine can be used, what sort of medication to be used. So the role of backliners is very, very important. Not only frontliners, equally backliners also play a major role. What are our performance? We did quite well. This is Institute of Lowy Australia, ranked Malaysia on 16th position. New Zealand at that time, Vietnam was considered as among good country in managing COVID. And now, you know that we have new variant from UK, and variant from South Africa, variant from India, and Brazil. So it can spread very, very fast. So what you need to do, you must protect yourself. Number one, physical distancing 1 meter. Number two, wear this mask. Number three, always wash your hand, sanitizer, and very important. These are three basic things, very vital in managing COVID, to stop the transmission. And everybody help stop the transmission and adapt new norm. I think you can download this book, Adapt New Norm, CAPP, Cegah, Amal, Patuh, and Pantau. Cegah means we to educate all of you, but most of you have been educated. Amal, some of you have been educated, but tidak amal. And some tidak patuh, and then some tak pantau. Meaning not only cegah, not only didik, they must amal. For example, amal, mengamalkan pakai mask. Dan mengamal, and then patuh. Patuh, meaning when you wear mask, you must wear properly, not only covering your chin like this. So your chin will be protected from getting COVID, but you will get COVID, except your chin will be protected. And then pantau, cannot only Ministry of Health doing the pemantauan. Pemantauan should be done by other people, by other agencies, and by the head department, by the teachers, by the agency, socials, sukan dan sebagainya, and then not only the Ministry of Health. And this is, I think all of you know, 3C and 3S. 3C, crowded place. If you go to crowded place, please avoid. If you cannot avoid, please wear mask. Confined space, please avoid in the lift. Not many people in the lift. If you have to be in the lift and too many people, you must wear this. And then close conversation, please avoid close conversation. Always wash hand. And then warn, beri amaran kepada yang tidak bersih, dan pakai pelitup muka, wear. 3W and 3C. And wash your hand with soap or bring small sanitizer. Bring small sanitizer and wash it regularly. And here, you have to wear the pelitup muka, the mask, because you know why? Once we sneeze, it takes about 150 milliseconds. One sneeze only takes about 150 milliseconds. And one sneeze can spread 3,000 droplets, imagine. And this droplet might stay in the air for 10 minutes. And this virus is very small. How small it is? It is 60 to 140 nanometer. 60 to 140 nanometers. How to imagine this size? This virus is very small. This is the virus. 60 to 140 nanometers. How small is this? You can take your hair. You can take your hair, the size of your hair is 80,000 to 100,000 nanometer. And you take your hair, you slice your hair 1,333 times. Then you get the COVID-19 virus. So it is very small. So it enters your nose, enters your mouth, terutama tempat-tempat sesak. But if you wear mask properly, you can protect up to 70 to 80%. This is the good way to wear mask, cover the nose and the mouth and so on. Not only this one is not true, only covering the chin. The chin will be protected, but virus can enter from the mouth. And this one, and it's not covering the chin. So the chin will get COVID here. And this one also, because it's very loose. This is very loose, also cannot. And this one, it only cover the tip of the nose. Virus they can enter. And this one even worse. Expose everything. So you must wear. This is what I said just now. Cegah mean educate. A mean amal. A, C, A, P, P. Amal mean do it properly. P mean patuh. And then another P is pantau. Maybe your head in this room should pantau, or your ketua unit, head department, or maybe the supervisor, or maybe the police, or maybe the shopping complex manager, or maybe at Surau, maybe the Bilal, or maybe the head of the unit at sport center and so on. So cegah, amal, patuh, and pantau. And pantau not only by MOH, by everybody. You should create that committee to look into it. And after that, the moment you have used this mask, you can just pull it. You don't touch at the front. Don't touch at the front. Just pull it from this side. And then hold like this and throw away. Don't touch in front. In front is dirty. And then how long can we use? Maximum 8 hours. And then don't wash unless you use the fabric one. There are now so many patterns. The fabric one you can use, you can use it several times. But the one that disposable cannot. You can only use one. Maximum is 8 hours. 8 hours. Don't share. Don't share mask with others. When you adjust your mask, maybe later on, your hand will become dirty. So when you adjust your mask, after that, take the sanitizer, wash it, and clean it up. Clean it up. So make sure your hand become clean. Because after that, you might forget. You might rub your hair, your eye. You might rub your nose. So when you remove this, and again, take the sanitizer, clean it up, and then wash it. And after that, what you do with this, throw it in the dustbin. Don't just leave it around. You must protect our other people, pekerja-pekerja, the cleaner and so on. So if you don't protect them, they might get COVID. When they get COVID, you also will get COVID because they clean your place. So it's very important. And number 3, kebersihan, basuh tangan. Why? Because you can see here, it can stay at copper up to 4 hours. And at paper, sometimes it can stay at 4 days. Some cardboard will be 24 hours. Therefore, and after you have gone for a meeting, you go to the tandas and meja makan, pantry, and so on, because some of them, sometimes positive patient might sneeze or might cough, and droplet might sort of drop at the pantry, the table, handrail, and escalator, and then your doors, and then the toilet. And so when you adjust your outside of the mask and the mouth and so on, after that you might rub your nose and your mouth. That is why always after that you use soap or sanitizer. Get a small one, simple, keep it in the pocket, and you can bring it everywhere you go. And after that, when you use this, because virus is protein, when you use sanitizer, it has alcohol, it will kill the virus. Another thing, the most important is physical distancing. 1 meter, 1 meter. You know what happened last time in Korea? Just because of one person in the church, Shinjoji Church of Jesus in the front of Korea, because of one person, the entire, more than 2,000 was infected. In Malaysia, remember, Jud Kudama Ulama Malaysia 2020 at Masjid Sri Petaling, at that time, the second wave, the biggest cluster during the second wave. And again, in the Gereja Baptist MMO, Kuching, Sarawak, also because of one person, we got a big cluster, and that person, that Padri, died and on 17th of March. And that's why penjarakan physical is very vital. And you can see lately in India, because they said they make announcement they might be able to control the COVID-19 in May, and a lot of people gathered together at the beach, and then at the Ganges River, Ganga River, and they have election. Now COVID in India is going up. In Thailand, because of the Songkla, the one or the event, the Songkla, the Pesta Songkla, and you can see cases are going up. So, and you can remember in Korea, super spreader, at that positive patient, one person, super spreader. Why? He went to 10 nightclubs in one night. So it spread viruses. So now you remember I told you we have the variant of concern, the mutation, and it spread very fast and very virulent. It spread very fast and very virulent. India, they call it mutasi berganda, double mutation. That is why following SOP, simple thing, 3, yeah, physical distancing, then wear mask properly, and use sanitizer. So, for religious gathering, religious prayer, whether you are Muslim or non-Muslim, Chinese, Indian, and so on, you can pray at home. Particularly, you don't go to the temple or church or mosque if you have fever and flu. You just pray at home. And for Muslim, and the best is if you have to go to the mosque, and the best you take the wudu ablution and you go to the tandas at home, because you don't compete with others. Your home is very clean. And then the jama'ah must limit the number of people going to that religious place. It must have good ventilation, and the number of people must be according to the size of the religious place. And physical distancing, very important. And for Muslim, it's the same thing been implemented in Masjidil Haram, in Masjid Nabawi. And for Muslim, bring your own sajadah, because you know that your sajadah is very clean. Get the big sajadah, not the small one, because you have to pray on your sajadah, touch your hand on your sajadah, then you avoid touching other places. Same thing for Chinese, same thing for Indian, and same for Christian. And no shake hand, yeah, no shake hand. If you meet people, no shake hand. It is just enough if we can give this kind of signal. Give this signal is enough. And no bump, no fist bump. I noticed quite a number of people implement fist bump. Fist bump is also not allowed. You still can transmit virus, You don't know, your hand, the fist may have virus over there. Fist bump also can transmit. The only bump can be allowed is tiger bump. Tiger bump can. Fist bump you cannot be used. Yeah. And MySejahtera, you should download MySejahtera and use it. Why? When you download MySejahtera, you enter any premises, you don't have to write. You don't have to write. Meaning the touching is less. You don't have to touch the pen, you have to touch the table. So just using MySejahtera, reduce the touching. And MySejahtera, there are a lot of information on COVID. And then if the premise that you have got positive cases, we will be informed, and then they can do contact tracing. And we can use also this MySejahtera for the vaccine registration. So vaccine, very important, yeah. And we have been approved, keluar bersyarat di Malaysia. For Muslim, Muzakarah telah memutuskan ianya wajib for frontliners and harus pada orang awam. And plan imunisasi kebangsaan adalah percuma for all Malaysians and including non-Malaysians. And what we need to do, queue, meaning register at MySejahtera and queue, and they will call for priority. So hope all of you has registered with MySejahtera. And remember, after vaccine has been given, and you become more protected. You might not get COVID, but if you do get COVID, after being immunized, maybe the symptom and the sign will be very mild. Meaning, after you have been given the vaccine, still you must follow SOP, because it is not 100% protected. They are not 100% protected. You may be protected, or you may get infection, but maybe milder version. But the best is now, during this phase, interim phase, you must still follow SOP. Simple. Physical distancing 1 meter, wear mask, and sanitizer. These are what I say, the 3 available vaccine that we have to implement while waiting for the injection, real vaccine. This vaccine, and Prime Minister has been given the immunization, and Minister of Health too, yeah. And issue here, tired, 18 months, we are tired following SOP. But I think all of you have to live with the virus. Why? Because this virus has adapted with the environment quicker than us. The virus, I repeat, has adapted with the environment quicker than us. Human less, in terms of adapting the new norm. So what we need to do now, we have to live with the virus. We must adapt the new norm. And we must be patient, and then we hope we can stop the transmission of the disease. Again, here I want to highlight, and COVID virus, please, when you get the news, we must check. There are so many fake news. You must check with the authority. You must check with the website of the authority, like MOH website, WHO website, not just hanky-panky website, not just from WhatsApp or Google, because some of them are just antivirus team. Yeah. So be careful with fake news. And conclusion here, ladies and gentlemen, in managing COVID, there are a lot of issues and challenges. The battle is still on. COVID-19 is adaptable with the environment, so we need to live with it. We need to comply with SOP. There are a lot of impact and implication is very great. We lost 2 billion plus during MCO 1.0, and a lot of people become jobless, and we cannot do business and so on. So we have to work together to stop the transmission of the disease. Hope vaccine will help, and all of you here, all of you down there, must strive to avoid point of no return. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle is still on. The war is not over yet. And last and not least, Delima Srasih Tukum Kodu. Terima kasih. Thank you. Love all of you. Thank you.